Good afternoon, David.
Jack, so good to see you again, and we've been having a great talk. I'm so exhausted just from the talk. But you're smiling today. I mean, that's
yes,
good.
I feel the kind of exhaustion that leaves me with energy, if that makes any sense.
God,
Okay.
I so look forward to seeing you every week, and where we get to talk and
I feel the same.
have a little water or something. And I know that today Jack helped me photograph, or did it himself. I'm so inept with any mechanical thing, but he took the pictures for the cover, 2 drawings, etc. in the back for the David Dubal's selected drawings coming out soon.
Soon, yes.
Fairly soon, and there'll be an article about, I think, the human face. I don't remember exactly, but it was, I thought, fun.
Yes, it is.
And then we, talked about it, and I said, or he told me, he said, well, you really should do a little bit promotion for the book. It is Christmas time, my goodness. Remember, his novels are on Amazon. 6 books on Amazon, right?
3 essay books and 3 novels, yes.
And this is the selected. There I am in a 1982 self-portrait. And it's Timp Publishing, my own drawing of a little lion, based on Delacroix, I think. Not copied, though. Then there's a personal sketch, a personal statement about how I got into drawing at 5 years old and never stopped. And then an article on Leonardo, because I have 3 drawings and a painting, different ways, and then Leonardo's own self-portrait. And then I go and I will give you the 20 by 30. It's called Alternate Universe, and it's white paint, glue, and blue paint on black board, 2014. So it tells you these things, and in the beginning of the book I do say many of the works in this volume are available for purchase. For more information, please contact David Dubal Society at gmail.com. So I would say it's a wonderful book. I mean, I'm so glad to have it, and I'm going to be very glad about the paintings, and then I'm going into volume 3, back to the paintings and drawings. The title of the painting here is also in here. It's called The Elephant Man. And by
I
the
thought
way,
that was called Elephant Dream.
Elephant Dream. I mean,
Yes.
It is a dream.
Yes.
You know these things better than me.
I
and
remember.
There's a fantastic piece of red there, that came out very, very well in the reproduction. This red is, to me, I mean, enough to love it. But I love every single thing I've ever done. Maybe that's total madness, crazy ego, but I actually think that I love it, or I wouldn't let it live. I would just destroy it.
Well, as I've said before, I don't think someone can be as prolific as you have been and continue to love one's work unless it was an objective, sound judgment. Because it would only take a madman's love of his own work to need just a few things. He wouldn't need to fool himself with a lifetime of production. So that's why I'm very confident.
Oh, this is a very deep statement. Thank you.
That's why I'm convinced of that. The prolific man usually can be pretty sincere about his own judgments of his own work, I believe.
I think so.
Yes.
I really do. When I say these things, I know that, well, my God, is David out of his mind?
Because in order to fool oneself, you only need to produce a few things.
That's right.
So in order to fool yourself over a lifetime, that would be madness to be prolific in an art of self-deception.
Oh, because in real life, I don't like anyone near me that deludes themselves or lives in deception, or just they don't know themselves. I'm not saying that these are Rembrandts or Degas, but I'm saying that they are worth buying and owning, because I'm not happy about, a wonderful painter, but he's hardly, Rembrandt, and that's Klimt. And I think Klimt just had one of his later works sold at an auction for $250 million. But that's absurd. I think I talked about it last week. However, this does not go for $250 million, but I would love you to get it for your Aunt Mildred or your child that doesn't know anything about art, and say that there are people still today drawing and painting. This is called Fishing Village at Night. This is called Love and Death, the ballet dancers. So I have many things in here that, represent a type of abstraction on reality. And I want to say that, here's another thing that I'm proud of. What is this? The November issue of the new Criterion. And that's Robert Kimball is the editor of that. And it's a journal that published Great Genes by David Duval. It's about the genetic heritage of, what would you call this? I mean, great genes could be great, like Levi's,
Well, they may be helping to pun on that, but because of, for many reasons. But it really is a fascinating piece that argues that great artists, great creators rarely can also pass down whatever it is that is inimitable in them genetically to their children. It doesn't seem to happen.
It doesn't seem to happen, and I think that that's how I proceeded after talking about the great racehorse Secretariat, who had like 700 children horses that were all winners because of that bloodline. Well, we're living in a very fantastic time where we won't know what artificial intelligence will do, or many other things, but I don't believe there will be the cloning easily of another Beethoven, that's for sure.
I remember a short piece of prose by Truman Capote called, and we are in the Thanksgiving season, and the final line or final principle of this short story, a memory of his childhood, comes from a guardian older woman relative. And the generalization that's made that I think about now, that I still believe in this era of horrifying mass production where we even think that everything can be duplicated. But in this story, the argument is made there is never two of anything. And it's a beautifully argued, simple thing, the way it's presented in this piece called The Thanksgiving Visitor by Truman Capote. But that always resonates with me. And I have a faith that that's true. We may have machines that try to copy a human being down to every last bit, but I bet there will always be some element of glorious inimitability that can never be cloned. And that's why I think we really do have to have faith. While the machines can go their merry way and think they're intelligent, but they're not. There's this simply shifting pre-existing material, as if in a giant magic 8-ball, making assertions that it's not aware of. There's still an absolute critical need, as we always say, no art, no life, for the artist to carry on now.
Yes, and you make me feel a little easier when you talk, because you know how frightened I am of taking even a tiny bit of independence away of any human being. That's what we are about, and that's why we can create. That we are that unique snowflake. That there's nothing next to us that will be a snowflake that will probably have anything in common in its construction. No, this we're part of a tremendous scheme of which I have no possible understanding of, nor do I want one. I don't have to have one.
Well, that's part of the magic of it, is the unanswered question. And David, if I may go back to a conversation we had in private and connect it to a degree to where we began today, with the mentality of the artist gaining his own objectivity through his prolificness. You had spoken of how sometimes an artist, or a performing artist in this case, can lead people to suspect, if I can use this term, that there's either a degree of pathology or some kind of personality trait that we might almost think is a diagnosable thing that places that person outside of the range of ostensible normalcy. However, we were talking about a particular pianist who had, perhaps from your own experience of him, such a rarefied, perhaps, way of seeing the world, that whereas people might think that there was some diagnosable trait, it's actually simply what that person has to endure because they cultivate such a rarefied point of view that they are almost rendered not only in the kind of individual, absolutely unreplicatable item like a snowflake, but also absolutely solitary because they've been willing to risk that cultivation of self. And I'm talking about what you told me about Shura Cherkassky, and how that you felt ultimately that those traits that he had may have seemed to others as if it might have been something that would create a difficulty that we might equate with certain terms that we'll give to people with behavioral trouble. But that you argued that to a degree it might have been such a rarefied way of looking at the world that it would cause that person to speak and seem as if they were almost troubled, whereas what they really were was troubled because they had such a rarefied normalcy or sensitivity in looking at the universe. Could you say a little more about that? I was charmed by some of the things that you told me about, even about the search for a hot fudge sundae.
Shura Cherkassky was born in 1909 in Russia, and he was a great child prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly had no understanding of what we understand. He was not an idiot savant. He was not any deficiency. He was exactly, as you say, his point of view, which was based only on the idea that the piano was the most important thing in his life.
Mm-hmm.
He would practice his 4 hours a day, never less. It was impossible. If he had a phone call, he was not problem about it. He would call, talk as long as he needed to, but he would make sure of going back and making the 4 hours, you know, the goal. But he was a man that was so rarefied in his view that he could only, while most people go downhill as they get older and older as instrumentalists, he got better and better. There was never a man with a greater fund of actual piano technique. At the age of 84, I think he died unexpectedly. I remember Van Cliburn said, I just can't believe you never would have thought that a man like this could die. There are these people, because of the rarefication of the way they look, and other people will say, oh my God, he's this, he's that, he's an idiot savant, he's you know, he no education, doesn't know. He's a unique snowflake in a world which only bothers him on certain occasions when he sees masses of people around him, even at his own concerts, which were, you know, all big events and sellouts. He was, comes out like a little leprechaun and bows and then plays in the most heavenly way possible. Has no idea probably how he memorized it or any analytic thing. Analysis would be paralysis for him.
Well, after you told me some of the tales about him, it made me think that perhaps now we're in the mania of, well, throwing salt on the figurative sidewalks of the world and destroying snowflakes, meaning that people that we think we have to impress upon them in this notion of a diagnosis, or the idea that whatever we think is some kind of deleterious aspect of a personality may be indeed the crystallized rarity, really, of a normal consciousness that has honed itself to a tremendous rarefied crystallized form. And that's what I got out of your...
Yes, we were talking in a way about Thomas Saz, you know, the great psychiatrist, writer of his most famous book called The Myth of Mental Illness. And he would understand that perfectly. He was absolutely, you know, aghast at the fact that we have, you know, so standardized the human being. There is no such thing as mental illness. There is this rarefication, sometimes taking on, schizophrenic problems. Certainly Schumann was schizophrenic. I mean, he didn't, have a gun and he didn't go out and shoot someone, but he surely did self-immolate himself through self-starvation. He was a rarefied genius of the first order, and that snowflake would never come again, and never would we have anything to compare with Robert Schumann's music. It's absolutely unbelievable, every single note. And what can I say? Every note by Shura Cherkassky was understood, and if you said, my goodness, how many people would love to study with you, when he would look at you like you're crazy. No one can study with me. I have no idea of how to teach anyone. This idea of teaching is ridiculous. You're really teaching? Did Verrocchio really teach Leonardo his genius? Or his, no, of course not. What Leonardo did in the workshop was to watch how chemically he made the oil paint, because he needed that. And Verrocchio knew, because he knew genius. He was so close to it, you see. Another spoonful of talent would have made him the equal of Leonardo, his own teacher. But as a teacher, he would say famously, a teacher's not worth his being unless the student overwhelms him, becomes greater than the teacher. There's something in that, but yeah. You're talking about a subject so immensely interesting, and to me personally, because we were talking about my paintings, which I say, in this egocentric manner to most people, I love them. I think they're great. I do. And here comes the great moment that I'm going to tell you about. I have 3 canvases that high, exactly the same width, 14 by 11 or something, let's say. When I say that, I mean I'm able to know pretty close that that's what I'm correct. And I have a conception which needs brown ink, so which I bought yesterday. It's coming, it's happening. First the canvas, then the brown ink, then there will be other aspects to it. They will hang together, one after another, if they ever are hung. Why do I have the excitement about this? They will not be failures, you see. I do not do failures. I can't wait till they're done. Why? So I could say, I love them. I love them.
Yes.
Look at that. Not I did it, because I don't remember the process usually. 2 years later, I won't remember, talking about it. But the idea that because I know that I've had such success in liking, at least, my works, certainly not putting them up with Titian or, Dürer or Leonardo. I mean, that's absurd. We haven't had one of those for 400 years. Not even Picasso could rank with Leonardo or Michelangelo. The idea that I will love them, that I will think that they're good, or I will just, oh my goodness, that's a failure, but that's very unusual because I don't allow failures.
I understand that. The only misfortune is, I think, the obligation that a gentleman like yourself feels when reaching across this fourth wall into the camera, or to whomever we may be speaking, and making, though it's creditable, the statement of humility, where one may say, perhaps I'm mad, or this about, in terms of the confidence. And of course, that also comes with the prolific man, knowing that with his prolificness, he proves also his sanity. Even if it seems like he's touched to the outside world. And that's why I hope you don't mind if I return to Cherkassky one more time, because you told me something I thought was very touching. You say that at one time he turned to you and asked, in a very plaintive, sincere way, whether or not you thought he had squandered his life, perhaps, in dedicating himself to rendering these works. And surely within that rarefied self-cultivation, he also felt that obligation to display his sanity by saying, I can also look from the outside and wonder if this devotion that is so honed to one exquisite point might seem mad to another, but I have to at least concede that possibility so that I can tell you no. At the same time, it was a choice made in sober sanity. So I know that in a way it's something very creditable, the self-deprecation that even that you feel obliged to make. It's an obligation, though I can tell you it's not necessary. And yet it kind of is, and it's reassuring when someone like you does it, and as you told me, someone like a Cherkassky did it as well. I mean, I would be dumbfounded. I mean, what was your reply to Cherkassky when he said that?
Okay, and you know what was interesting to me was that we were walking, trying to get his fabled hot fudge sundae.
Yes.
He just loved those. That childlike aspect to him that has to be in I think, artists. Mozart must have been, you know, I mean, Amadeus is not wrong, even though it was, you know, a fantasy movie. Mozart was not like that at all, but he had a childlike quality that
Yes.
was amazing. Every artist does in some way or another. I knew Horowitz so well. My goodness, he was so childlike in many ways. You must preserve that. I don't know how you do, and you have to do it. I try, and I know I have, because I can't believe that I could say in public that I can't wait for my next works because I will be loving them. So Shura Cherkassky and I are on 6th Avenue, 48th, right around that Diamond District.
Okay.
And it's so crowded. It's about 5:30 and people are going home. There's a subway stop around there. And all of a sudden he turns to me, forgetting that he doesn't care that there's 5,000 people walking. He turns to me, looks up at me, and he says, he's a short little leprechaun. And he says, do you think that I wasted my life in giving it all to the piano? Not to music, to the piano.
Yeah.
And the look of the face, why he decided that I was to be the authority that moment in his life, I don't know, but he trusted me. And I looked at him and I said, Shura, of course you did not waste your life. Are you joking? Almost like I'm a little upset with you. You're one of the elect. I didn't say any of that. I just said, not a chance, my friend. Let's continue our quest for the hot fudge sundae. Okay.
Yes.
He had just gotten it out of his system.
Yes.
Okay, that was over with. He's not going to think about that for 7 weeks or 7, you know what I'm saying? It's wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful.
Well, I think there are those who find people of authority who at the same time that authority figure caring enough for the person that the person can ask the authority figure for reassurance, though they may not trust it. But then there are those, and that's why I think he did, that he knew he would get reassurance that was true. And he already knew the answer. And I think that's the reason that he made you the authority, because he felt that you could give an answer of authority. So in a way, I don't mean that he didn't think the answer mattered, but I think he knew that he needed an echo off the canyon of an objective truth of the outside of his own mentality.
Sure.
And that you would most definitely be able to say, even in the words that you chose. I admired, it's a phrase I like.
What was that?
You said that he was among the elect.
Oh, yes.
There are phrases that, it's funny that we hear them, we know we admire them, but for some reason they're not in our working repertory to use. And that's something that also fascinates me. That sometimes not to use a word only to have it heard that we use it, but that sometimes I will go through the day to have circumstances come upon me where I will have to use it. a given word. And I think you found a great use for the word elect, that he was among the elect.
Oh, I call him the last romantic. It wasn't Horowitz. He was the last romantic in many aspects of the fantasy of that word, and the fact that how he played was of a very different kind of playing that we have now.
And this is maybe a childish question of mine. And he practiced just on a little upright all the time?
Practiced on his upright.
Yes.
He lived in a little one studio apartment at a building called the White House in London. And I just adored Horowitz, the player.
Yes.
I don't know. I think the man too, because he didn't have hatreds for people at all. That rarefied personality was, today I have to play in Carnegie Hall, or as I told you how happy he was when I called him and said, for the Steinway 150th anniversary,
Yes.
which I was the host and music director, and one pianist canceled in the part that was the Carnival. There were 22 pianists playing one piece each, and we needed now the finale, the Philistines, and I called him at the Pierre Hotel where he was staying. He says, "Is the Pierre Hotel too expensive for me, David?" I said, "No, you've been at the Mayflower long enough. You can do this, Shura." And he would ask you things that you would not expect. Or, last night at Carnegie Hall, were there too many inner voices that I used? These were aspects of his creativity and imagination with a score. I said, every one of them was delicious. These were affirmations from the authority too, because someone said David Dubal wrote a book on Horowitz or The Art of the Piano. So, he didn't make judgments. I wasn't an authority and I was an authority, but it didn't matter. He was with you because he knew how, as he played, in the moment. He lived in the moment. Can you imagine turning around in the midst of that? You think I've wasted my life on the piano?
Well, then I would love to have heard, what did he think were his alternatives?
I don't think he thought of that.
That's why I'm sure he knew what the answer was that he was going to hear.
I don't think he. Yeah. And he was not going to let anyone get in the way of his work. I mean, he was beyond just childlike or just this, or I'm producing great music.
Did you ever hear him in a concerto?
Yes, of course I did.
Okay.
And of course his recordings of concertos. It was a difficult thing for conductors to work with him, that they had conceded, because he didn't count or something with it. They were not sure that he'd come in right or whatever, because he didn't have any analytic thing. I remember at the Y he played with some orchestra, the 92nd Street Y, and it was the Chopin E minor concerto. Gorgeous piece by Chopin, 19-year-old Chopin. Jack, first movement was terrible.
In what way?
It just wasn't inspired.
Okay.
He doesn't like to play with orchestras. Second movement, which is one of the great romances, the star, it's one of the few times that Chopin actually writes poetically about a movement or a piece of his. Very seldom does Chopin have any care to tell you how he feels about a piece.
In the directive, in the score.
And it's not directive. He was just, he wrote in a letter to a friend saying a letter that, this was like a moonlight romance or something. I don't remember exactly. But Shura played it well. We had a beautiful singing tone. It still meant nothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
The weakest movement is the last.
Mm.
I never heard it played so well in my life.
How do you account for that?
It's a total mazurka, mazovia of such, I don't know, something finally inspired him. Or he said, oh, screw the orchestra. And he was just soaring. Nobody has ever played this last movement, which is could be quite stiff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's everything about this man. I mean, I said, talking about a work that you and I love so much, and I said, well, your Liszt Sonata, which I had heard recently. Oh, geez. Rachmaninoff's Liszt Sonata. I wish there was a recording. Oh, there was. He said, I didn't know he ever played it in public. Absolutely. When he knew something, he knew it. He absolutely. The Liszt Sonata. I said, that's a great work. I said, would you play it anywhere? Because it's not, it's a half hour. Oh, of course I would play it anywhere. I would even play it in the middle of the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great man.
Mm-hmm.
Not the stupid person that
Well, thank you.
And he didn't need to have things analyzed or explained. His instincts were so not right, not wrong. They didn't matter to him. Everything was, I know how I'm going to play this. And then there was room for inspiration of the highest.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I miss him very much. I was in Israel giving master classes one year,
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago or whatever. He was playing in Israel. He saw my name in a newspaper, hundreds of miles away. I don't know where I was or him.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls me. Somehow
Mm-hmm.
David Duvall is doing this at the Golan Heights or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls me, can we get together?
And did it happen?
No,
Oh.
he's in Jerusalem or
Okay,
something.
okay.
I mean, and he's leaving the next day, but he wants to
talk.
to communicate.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It would be fun to say hello to David.
Yes.
And he didn't understand really how far away I was, or knew, or estimated in miles. Didn't think like that.
Mm.
Oh, it's so refreshing not to have the conventionalized thinking of a human being at all times. But they are at the risk. Just as I said, oh, my works are, oh, I love them.
Yes. Well, that's what made me go down that path. I'm glad.
Thank you. That's a wonderful path for anyone to hear about. It's a great path. So I mean, again, Amazon.com.
Yes, that's where they are.
That's just put in Dubal's name, right? Select
Yes.
it, and it'll come out. I never did it.
In a line with all your books. It's there, next to your music books as well. If one puts in,
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
good,
if one
good,
puts in
good,
David
good.
Duvall on Amazon, it will come up in the row with all your work.
As you know, I really would like to have my novel published, but I haven't made any effort outside of the fact that someone told me that you can't get a novel published by a man anymore. It has to be a woman. It so traumatized me, this crazy rejection, after telling me he liked it very much. But I'll never get it published. And I believed him. What kind of craziness would I be? Why would I believe this man? Why would he, just because he's an agent?
It's interesting. Do you feel that you have that same vulnerability? You don't have that same vulnerability with your
No.
artwork.
Oh, no.
So why do you think that would have happened in your prose writing? Because you have written many, many books. And I always contend that there is no such thing as fiction. We're always describing something that we can comprehend. So the source becomes kind of moot after a while. So I'm surprised because I always campaign to read or hear you read the novel, yours.
I know, and I never have given it to you or read even a page. And I would think, oh my goodness, because I admire your writing, I would think, oh, this is so full of it. Someone said, well, what is this novel? I said, this novel's It's just high trash. And
Now, what makes
totally
you
different from the way I look at the
Interesting.
paintings.
All right. Do you think that's just mounting a defense? Should there be a rejection, or do you think the high trash? I don't believe that of you. I'm still campaigning to see it because I would not accept that appraisal.
So one of these days, if I live long enough, I'll read it to you.
Okay. I'd be honored to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know why I would. Yeah, there is, you can always find some reason for your behavior. I had such audacity because I believe so much. You know, you've seen me say to you, I did this drawing, I can't believe it, it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And you leave it as it is. And then I say, oh, my novel is just high trash. It's pornography even in a way. I mean, there's so many sexual themes. What's going on? And deep down, I'm actually reprimanding myself for saying my paintings are delicious to me. Because...
You mean in a kind of compensatory
how
way?
could I have so much talent? Isn't that a big mistake for me to think that way?
I don't think it is. I think we have to, again, I think your prolificness as a prose writer has already been proven. So I don't think the leap to novel is that big a leap. I think it's only made a leap, again, by the middleman business that wants to say, I'm an editor of fiction and he's an editor of this.
You see how he hurt me?
Well...
He sits at home in his great home in Southampton or something and gives judgment on people, and they take it seriously.
Interesting.
They take it seriously, and I sure did. I never again attempted to sell my book, and I needed a good advance.
Mm. Well, that leaves it ahead for all of us then. Maybe that was meant to happen. I'm convinced.
We've talked about Shura.
Yes.
Last week we talked about Thanksgiving, and
yes.
you know I was here with my lean cuisine.
Okay.
My Tuesday talks with the young pianists that played that Tuesday. We had a dinner after with a few of the people that come to the dinner after at a Mexican restaurant right near the church. And we talked about the Civil War book with a man who was a guest of the class. He came when he can. He comes when he can, buys his tickets. 123 West 71st every Tuesday night. There will be one at 6:30. It goes to 8:15 to 8:30. These people have been with me for years and years. They love the piano. We had 3 young pianists. They all played marvelously. My God, they're just... I play the piano, you play the piano, but I mean, you know that how deep they learn these things. I'm not saying that it was the, Rachmaninoff performance or anything, but it stuns the people. A great audience, my audience. It's called Piano Evenings with David Duvall. And if you wanted to find out about it more than you do know, go to pianoevenings.com, and you will see exactly what we are. And if you live in New York, there's some man that comes all the way from New Jersey, Delaware every week.
Wow.
And there was one woman who flew in, very, very wealthy, to my class from Minnesota on her private jet.
This happened recently?
Yes. Incredible. I forget her name right now. And, so many of my students have been not playing, they just love the piano. Or they love me. Because my talk is, I gave a wonderful speech on Turkey Day, told everyone to go get all those steroids and buy those Tom turkeys. I said, and really, you really mean it? 80 million Americans are running to see their grandmothers? How bourgeois. I hope that you don't do that. I mean, I know they will be doing that. They
Yes.
will, the next day they all have grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
But I also leave with this positive. Please make sure that they listen to great art music. Great, please get them away from the junk. That's your duty. My duty is to bring to you young pianists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying good things.
Yes, absolutely. That program looked very enticing to me.
I think it was Carnival.
Yes.
Boy by the name of Amir Ran. A young woman started with Lily Boulanger, 3 pieces. I mean, we get the best repertoire in the world, meaning you can't go to Carnegie Hall and hear anything but, this conventional stuff.
And that would be Nadia Boulanger's sister's pieces, Lily?
Yeah, Nadia Boulanger. And they are excellent, 7 minutes. And then she went on and played the Norma paraphrase. I call it the Norma Thriller by Liszt.
Mm-hmm.
You've played in these sessions the Ives Sonata.
The second sonata, yes.
Second sonata, and then people would come up to me, how could you let us have to hear that?
Mr. Ives has heard that complaint a lot.
Listen again.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. You can't do it once necessarily.
Yeah.
But I'm not there to scold.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to have fun, and I reprimand them. I just said something so funny, and you're not laughing. If this was an audience that I would have at the Chamber Music Society in Philadelphia, they would be laughing their heads off.
What do you think causes that difference in that audience?
I don't
We've
know.
talked about this before.
I don't know, but it bothers me that they have no sense of humor, in my opinion. Please don't cancel. Don't cancel coming because I've just criticized the group. It's a wonderful group, as I said, that they are so silent, as if every note is touched by God. They are so good to the kids, and as the young ones leave at the end, I always have them shake hands with certain people. Please feel the hand of the boy that just played that, or the girl.
Yes. I've often noted that in your classes as a consistent thing that you advise.
We want to touch, we want to be able to come close to the people that have moved us.
Yes.
Tell me about what you are thinking today as you came in on the, what do you call those, the iron horses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I have a couple of essays in progress, so oftentimes I know when I'm getting very, very close to executing them that I put less and less into my journal about that theme, and other things seem to start to creep in, as if I've hit a fullness on something, so that it's time to chisel out from the stone that I've harvested into some little particular realization of it. And I hinted to you about those. In particular, well, just in little charming things about the process of coming to visit you, I noted in my journal last week that in all of my years, more than a half century of having access at least to New York City, I've never seen the moment when the Christmas tree stands go up before the trees are in them. So as I was walking along Broadway to make a turn to come over to your street, I all of a sudden noticed all these 2x4s looking like skeletons along, and I said, those are the things that will hold the Christmas trees. So when I got out of the subway today, I was looking forward to seeing them full and making a little detour to walk by them simply so I could smell it.
The pine, you
Yes,
mean? Or
yeah.
no, the pine, isn't that something?
It is.
Pine. You know how much we've neglected smell.
Yes.
Oh, people never talk about it. I mean, in my case, I have very specific things with scents, meaning I want very much to own Cisani or Hanimori, shave after shave,
Yes.
or colognes, whatever they're called. I don't know. I'm mad about the differences of scent, and I'm not interested in eating. I'm interested
Yes.
Smell it. Smell
Well,
it.
may I ask then, before the idea of cultivated scents, can I ask what are some very primal childhood scents that put you down the path? I know I have my own list of them, but scents that you can share with us that if,
Well, there's a scene in the novel also that is about scents, and I don't think it was is realistic, except it uses the idea that I was always, there were no, my father would not use scent. He would
Okay.
use soap, and he would,
yes,
and he didn't, he wouldn't have wanted to buy, or it would be too expensive for
all
him.
right,
But there were no colognes in that time compared to now. We have, if you're famous like Baryshnikov or Elizabeth Taylor, they have
Okay.
their horrible,
yes,
horrible smells. I don't know who made them,
mm-hmm.
but there's so many bad ones that I just, if by mistake I buy one that I don't like, I will throw it out. I think I've said this on this very show,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm mad about it, and right my next one is I must get Dior's Eau de Sauvage Parfum. It must be the strongest, of which
Okay.
I know exactly how much water to thin it out.
Interesting.
And sometimes I'm wondering, maybe I'm having too much, because I don't know that my sense of smell is absolutely the best one in the world. But I want that on me. I mean, and I've been thinking about it now for 2 weeks.
Mm.
And when I get the money, I will get my Eau de Parfum Dior. I haven't had it in 5 years. In other words, it's one of the basics for me.
Okay. Now, may I go a little bit lowbrow and ask you, what about environmental scent from childhood, just common objects? There are things that I know, I just love the scent of a newly sharpened Ticonderoga pencil.
Of course.
There's something about that cedar
All of
combined
those.
with the graphite. Now, a lot of pianos have very distinct scent, such that a piano that is really well regulated next to its sister that's equally well regulated can sometimes have a different ambient scent that can make one more comfortable in terms of selecting practice rooms. Because I think there's a whole culture to that when one is alone, living away at school perhaps, and having to compete for practice rooms, and then you find those rare days where there's a luxury of many rooms, and oftentimes I could be attracted sometimes simply to the scent of the room.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The scent of the room is amazingly. Oh, yes. I have, right here, I have a wonderful, I spray it. It's a mixture
Uh-huh.
that you can't buy. It's,
It's something that you assemble?
not me, but
Oh.
Cecile.
Okay.
And it just, all of a sudden,
Mm.
for at least 2 minutes, it's ecstasy.
Okay. As a child, were you ever exposed to Lionel trains?
Absolutely.
Well, I must say, I don't think there's any smell in the world like when the locomotive will short out a little bit and give off that Lionel ozone scent,
Mhm.
that very metallic. It's one of the few.
I don't remember it, no.
It's a very industrial smell, but I must say maybe I associate it in its conflation with Christmas trees and that kind of conflict that creates a tremendous kind of aroma of alchemy from Christmas, at least from childhood.
Going back to the scents, my uncle had one of the only scents for men that existed then, and that was the world famous Old Spice.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
it's absolutely an amazingly excellent. It's
Yes.
still sold.
Yes.
It was everyone's scent. Every man that would, they'd put on the Old Spice. Now you could, of course, they have it in eau de cologne. It's not just the one with, that's fairly weak. And I would steal that before I went to school. I would put it all over my hands,
Yes.
7 years old or something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think my uncle ever understood why it was getting so used. There are scents that I wish I could get bottle after bottle of Aphrodisia, which is out of business.
Mm.
I have wonderful scents from all the great designers
Okay.
have had pretty good ones. Some just great. I can't write out this minute. I don't remember their names. I only remember the mood. Cézanne brings me back exactly to WNCN in a certain year.
Mm.
I don't know why.
Yes.
Another one to a person.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you could fall in love with a woman
Mm-hmm.
who was wearing the scent that would captivate you,
Yes.
and if you had chemistry with her, you would definitely, oh my God, you would sway in the wind.
Now, David, that brings up a whole other thing. We've talked a lot about letter writing, and we've talked a lot about films of a certain time. Something that I suppose is gone forever, and yet we see it depicted over and over in moments in old films, I would say 30s and 40s films, where a letter is received, and before it's opened, before it's determined, oftentimes the recipient will try to detect the scent of the sender, and usually relish that.
Absolutely.
And do we think that what's being suggested is that the sender has simply left their scent of their perfume or cologne because the marking of the hand has worked the paper? Or are we to understand that perhaps those people at that time put a bit of the scent on the paper itself? What do
Yes,
you
of
think
course they did.
Is that what that was?
Yes. It was only in Victorian America and England, not with people like Oscar Wilde who were sensitive to smell,
Mm-hmm.
but you had to be careful. Oh, a man doesn't use smell. They don't use aftershave. My father, as I said, didn't, but it was just because of the money.
Okay.
I don't think it was ever cultivated in one way or
I see.
another.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He had his brush and his soap, and he
Mhm.
went at it,
Mhm.
and I could not understand that.
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! Every single lotion has a scent. Let's go to the painting. I cannot wait to smell the turpentine. I mean, each brush has a different smell.
Yes.
Each piece of paper, each book, each leather product.
Yes.
My father, in the world of smell, I don't want to put him down all the way. Oh, he would be able to smell shoes. He was a lover of the shoes that he sold.
Mm.
And I would remember in his store. Oh, he says, that is a beautiful, beautiful shoe. And he
Mhm.
looked at it, but he would always smell it.
Yes.
Today we have the almost caricature of the wine
Yes.
person. I know nothing about wines. I do smell it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about it, so I don't.
Mhm.
I only know if it's bad.
Okay.
But I can understand that people go mad about if they really are not putting us on with
Mhm.
snobbery. I don't know.
Mm.
It's a very personal thing. I don't like the idea that I would take off my shoe to smell this brand new shoe in front of people.
Mm.
I think the smell is, there was a gas station when I was 9 years old.
Mhm.
I called it banana oil because I always made up names for things that I didn't know what they were.
Okay.
And it was a place on the corner of something in Cleveland, and I'd be walking to school. As I walked to school, always a different way, you see, because 2 times would bore me. I'd go back to it, of course. You could only get to school a certain amount of times. But this place, I would linger in there, and what is it? I never would talk to anyone or go, I would be too shy. What is that oil? I don't know. Could have been just oil. I don't know.
Mhm.
I called it banana oil, and I stood for minutes before walking again. Come home knowing that I would be able to have that smell again.
Mhm. From the service station.
Yeah. Privet. Do you know what that privet is? That little, it's in Central Park. It grows in August especially. Oh my God,
no.
all of Central Park is like breathtaking. What? Can't I get that into a bottle?
Mm.
Oh, I want that on me.
Do you ever feel that you catch the scent, the premonition of another season in another season?
all the time through scents,
Yes.
always.
And do you feel that oftentimes I suspect that might have to be connected to temperature, subjecting objects that are always present to a temperature that's more common to the season that's coming? But what do you make of that? I spend a lot of ink speculating about when I will first detect autumn in a new year. Sometimes it'll be as early as March, where something will die, like a windy storm will cause a healthy branch to drop.
Mhm.
And then I'll speculate as to whether or not that one branch in the yard is causing a premonitory bit of October to appear in March. What do you think causes these feelings that we detect other seasons?
It is one of our major five senses,
Yeah.
right? It's just not cultivated by the normal,
Mhm.
I use that word,
Yes.
the unnormal, the normal, they just don't smell enough.
And all-
Maybe
yeah.
they smell, oh my goodness, ginger is a wonder. I get sushi and I look at the color of the uni, that wonderful rice bores me. I'm not interested in the white.
Mm.
I know that is there good quality in the rice, or I ask people, what basically speaking, smelling is so important to me, and I'm just being very sketchy about it, because from turpentine to linseed oil to cobalt blue, all of these things have their own smell.
And wouldn't that affect the artist of the future, who sometimes is motivated by the visceral aspect of being attracted to the scent of a medium? Won't that vanish and be gone with the wind when people are working on tablets, where that simply just renders a petroleum plastic smell? No matter what discipline, whether or not they're data entering notes for a musical piece or pretending that they're sketching on that in a faux charcoal resolution, all of that is lost. And it just baffles me that so many people submit to it. So I'm
They're not
gratified.
submitting. They don't even know about it.
I see. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, your opinion is just as good as mine. I don't know. I do know that after it rains, my God, the amazing amount of smells going on.
Mm-hmm.
Debussy, after in Footsteps in the Rain piece, it was raining before he had composed that, and it inspired him to the Image, I think, number Estampe, what is it? I don't know, I don't remember. And he was in a home, and he opened the doors and went out into the garden, and he just threw himself into the soil, which was wet.
Mm-hmm.
That smell, that feel, and then he put it into the music. Debussy's music is absolutely filled with smells and auditory things as well. It's a great subject. You should write about it.
Okay.
And I think you have. I think the smells in your book with the leaves and the when you're jogging.
Well, thank you. I do dress a lot about leaves.
Yes,
and
the
scent,
leaves
yes.
are, and Debussy's leaf pieces beautiful, and your prose is very heavily laden with a scent when you're talking about leaves and in while you're jogging or something like that.
Well, thank you, David. I have tried to do that.
So you've tried that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an important subject to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people think of it as important, but if you think of the five senses, if you think of hearing, oh my God. Oh, think of not having to be able to hear. I'm
Yes.
deaf
Mm-hmm.
compared to what I was. Thank God I can hear the music. Deafness is so complicated, I think. Reading, my eyes, I love them. And then take a look at everyone's eyes. It's a whole world. Each eye is so amazing. Every eye is differently made.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And our ability to avoid confounding most faces. There's rarely a time when I'm walking in the midst of New York City that I can say that someone superficially maybe resembles someone else, but it's very, very, very exceptional the day wherever I think I see someone that in any way suggests the duplicate of someone else. that we have this amazing skill to take such limited features, eyes, a nose, and a mouth, and be able to distinguish amongst millions an individual. Again, everything points to the absolute golden notion and indissolubility of the individual. So to take a crack at it all you want, robot and artificial intelligence, you don't have a prayer of a chance. It doesn't. I don't fear it. I challenge those people to make it as powerful as they like. I believe it will only collapse of its own misery in not being human.
Makes me very worried.
Yes. Well, I was hoping to try to reassure you with that statement rather than to worry you, but...
No, you do. You
Okay.
do reassure me. Yes. The autumn leaves.
Yes.
The melody of that, the song. Recently I was comparing different singers
That's
of the
right,
autumn
in
leaves.
the
I think
song
I
Autumn
told you
Leaves.
that.
Yes.
And I'm amazed at how leaves look and how different they are, and each leaf smells so differently. I mean, turpentine, think of what turpentine, it just drives me crazy.
And turpentine is the product of...
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just been with me all my life.
Mhm.
Talking about, the new book, the selected drawings.
Drawings, yes.
There's many portraits, many line drawings or other kinds of portraits. And in the article I discuss exactly what you were saying. The face is so compounded with small, just how could they be so different, so many thousands of faces. I never saw in my life two really twins that were
Agreed.
not decipherable. I would maybe make a joke out of that. Two students once, I never got their names right, but they were identical twins. But I mean, I knew the differences, of course.
Yes.
Great differences in every face. Jack, as usual.
I feel the same, David. An honor and a real diversion. And I mean that in the best way that I can say it. That sometimes I will feel I stagnate in my solitude, and then all it takes is a conversation with you, and I come back a new man.
Same with me, and that's why it's important for us to build an audience. You may not, know about the appoggiatura and the Mephisto waltz that we're talking about, but it may bring you to listen to these great things. And I think that each one of you should make sure that you have some people that can listen to your madness about, as I was saying, about my love for my own drawings. It's not my ego there.
No, that's something I hope we can talk about in the future. That's a double consciousness speaking at that moment.
Yes, remember when I say, who did that? I don't remember it even. But
Yes.
I love it.
And that's something that we can talk about at length, because it's not even quite an external force, but at the same time, I don't mean to suggest it's a split of a singular personality, but you're right, it's something distinct.
We need so much to be able to communicate to our fellow man. We're not doing it enough.
No.
I mean, no. These rock and roll songs are just not making it.
They do not. I agree.
I was listening to this CNN production of when the rock and roll changed the world, and some guy, some self-serving old rocker, was saying, "Oh, and we did this for hunger." They did not. They never did do anything for hunger. Nor does one meal make any difference. And
Yes.
Yes, you are going to be able to hear Michael Jackson, the greatest artist of the 20th century. If I could, I would tear that goddamn man's hair out.
I understand, I do. And we need people to express that kind
Well,
of...
you can't dare anymore.
Well, you've just dared,
I did.
as you
I
should.
did, and
Yes.
I hope that I only wish that I could have, as I did in an article once, that I wish I could have given piano lessons to Michael Jackson. He would have really had a good time. I think he would have been able to number one, play better. They all play on this rudimentary level, you know, from John Lennon on to Elvis, even Elvis. I have a tremendous theory about Elvis going in my brain, and maybe we'll revive it next week.
I will pursue that right away. I will not forget.
King Elvis.
Yes.
Say hello to everyone that loves you.
Oh, thank you, David.
And we'll be together again next week, God willing.
Yes.
And what else? Anything?
No, I'm looking forward to that next week
So
when it arrives.
I am. I cancel everything I can, but not you.
Thank you, David. Same here. So I'm always waiting at that train depot to get here on a Friday or a Saturday, as today was the case.
Thank you so much for listening, and also listen to my radio shows, which features the piano, reflections from the keyboard on WQXR, things like that. As Schnabel said, nobody knows who I am, but still there's a good number who do. So let's hope that's true of us, okay?
Absolutely. All right, David. Okay, till next week.
Thank you very much.